sound is working so far. Stand by in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hey, everybody, how you doing? Woo! Welcome to PHLY Flyers Postgame, brought to you by Bet365. Download the Bet365 app and use code PHLY365 when you sign up. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Charlie, it is quite fortuitous that we have Bet365 and Never Ordinary as a sponsor, because this freaking team is the opposite of ordinary.
They are always something.
They were outshot tonight, 37-19. They had 7 shots on goal through 40 minutes. They win in overtime 5-4 off an odd angle shot from Matvei Michkov. He is the hero, but this was one of the most ridiculous games we've seen in a while, just in terms of process and results. What sticks out to you more? The fact that they were horrible for most of the game, or that they won a game that they had no business even being competitive in?
Yeah, for me, it's the latter. Now, we can talk about, and we will, about all of the things that they did wrong, especially over the first 40 minutes of this game. Though the third period was better. Obviously, they went in overtime. First 40 minutes, that was as bad as they've looked all year. They looked terrible. They were barely creating shots. It was right back to where they were before the road trip, where everything was disconnected. We'll talk about that. But to me, this is more about the complete and total unlikeliness of their victory. And in the end, it mostly boils down to 2 words: Linus Ullmark. Because, oh my God, was he so bad?
We have a matchup of Ivan Fedotov, who, like a week ago, was the Flyers' number 3 goalie. Sucked to start the season.
Looked like he was taking it for the AHL.
We were trying to come up with the AHL. We were like, is there a contract termination coming up by like Christmas? Like, we were coming up with creative ways on how they can get out of this Fedotov contract. Up against who a couple of years ago won the Vezina Trophy. One goalie gave the chance to win. One goalie was the reason they lost.
Are we not? Oh, we're good?
Okay. One goalie gave their team a chance to win. One was the reason that they lost. If we made a poll, who would be who is coming into this blind? Someone who was watching the Eagles game, has no idea what happened. A goalie cost their team the game. I don't know, 92.5% would say Fedotov. That's probably a low-end estimate. But that was not the case at all.
Yeah. It's shocking to me that Ivan Fedotov has turned it around to this degree, but he looked good. And it's even more shocking to me that Linus Ullmark, a guy who Ottawa looked at as their maybe not their future, but definitely their present.
They're right
present.
now.
He is the guy who is solving their problem. Well, he looked Cal Peterson-esque in this game. And going back to the overtime goal, because obviously, in his dramatic future superstar way, Matvei Michkov is the hero. Matvei Michkov did not play well in this game. For the vast majority of this game, he was, I would say, somewhere between invisible and actively poor. He wasn't doing much with the puck. He didn't look like he had much jump. Didn't get a ton of ice time, justifiably so. He wasn't playing very well. But aside from Anthony Richard, he was the only guy on the team, who figured out the circumstances of the situation, which is, we are playing against a goalie that can't stop a beach ball. So if I'm in any spot in the offensive zone, don't worry about trying to make moves. Don't worry about some slick passes. Just shoot the puck, because he can't stop anything. And the goal he scored, yes, that is a shot he likes to take. He likes taking the sharp angle shots. But you can't tell me it didn't dawn on him in a way that it should have dawned on everyone on the Flyers that this goalie can't make a save. So just get the puck on net and hope for the best. Ullmark should have made that save. All he's got to do is hug the post. That wasn't a miraculous shot by Michkov where oh my God, he found the corner. He just threw it on goal because he's facing off against a goalie who had no idea what he was doing out there tonight. And props to Michkov for realizing that.
And to that point, Michkov and Anthony Richard combined for 5 of their 19 shots on goal in this one. So it was absolutely
just one of those games for Linus Ullmark, and at least a couple of guys were able to take advantage. But on the other end, you look at Ivan Fedotov.
Yeah.
And you go, all right, he allowed 4 goals. Like, how good was he really? Listen. First of all, grading on the curve that we are grading him on.
Fair.
Again, we were a week ago trying to come up with creative ways of sending him back.
Well, it was like you with Chuck Fletcher. You're combing through the dictionary to find new words to describe him.
Stops 33 of 37, gives up the 4, but he was, if not really good, normal. He was normal tonight. He gave them a chance to win a game in which they were vastly outplayed.
Especially the first 40 minutes.
Yes.
He made some big saves in overtime, too. He makes a real big save at the end of regulation to secure the point. That great stop on that oncoming rush, I think it was with about like 15 seconds left in the game. Fantastic save. First 40 minutes of that game, the Flyers were barely playing NHL level hockey. They never had them. The only thing they were doing well, and we actually noted this, I think I might have noted in the watch-along, or if it was after the watch-along ended, not quite sure. The one thing the Flyers did do well in the first 40 minutes is they mostly kept the Senators out of like the home plate, high danger areas. They'd only given up 5 high danger chances at 5-on-5 through the entirety of regulation. Pretty good. But beyond that, they did nothing with the puck. They barely had it. When they did have it, they just gave it away, aside from one good passing sequence at the start of the game and then a really, really good stretch pass by Noah Case, Travis Konechny. Those were like the only 2 positive moments of the first 40 minutes. The only reason why that game is still a game after 40 was Ivan Fedotov.
Yeah, first 40 minutes, Fedotov stopped 26 of 28. That's more than we can ask from him. Honestly, that is asking too much of a guy that we don't even know if he's an NHL goalie yet. And plenty of time to talk about that in the coming weeks,
right,
as they have to figure out this roster situation that is coming up quickly for them. I want to talk about Tony, Dick.
Okay, all right. Let's talk Anthony Richard.
Anthony Richard is the regulation hero tonight. He only plays. Let's see. Anthony Richard only plays 10 minutes and 50 seconds. Takes 17 shifts, but he has 2 shots on goal. Both result in a point. He gets a goal and an assist.
Yep.
He throws that squeaker through Ullmark's pads. He gets the rebound for Brink's goal that ties it up. I realize he's going to be, 28 in a couple of weeks. He's never had a long run in the NHL. We said during the watch-along, like, four different seasons, but, like, I think the high was, like, 19
Yeah,
games.
it's always been stints.
He's played, like, 24 games prior to this year in the NHL.
Exactly.
Right now, 2 points tonight. It's his 4th game. That puts him at a point a game.
You can't send him down.
Talking about this roster situation they're in.
You can't.
John Tortorella said, he was asked, what are you asking of Anthony Richard? He needs to score. 4 points at 4 games.
He's scoring.
I don't know what else to say about this kid. He's playing his role. And for a team, again, like that Carolina game, you were a little more disappointed in it than I was because they only had 6 shots to the final 40.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's Carolina. That's their thing. This is Ottawa is not Carolina.
No, they're very much not Carolina.
They're improved, but they are not the Carolina Hurricanes.
They're not the Hurricanes. Not a chance.
And they have 7 shots through the first 40 minutes against this team.
Mm-hmm.
They have had trouble scoring all year. We know their problems on offense. If Travis Konechny or Matvei Michkov ain't on the ice, this team can't score.
Yeah.
Anthony Richard scoring. I don't see how you can send him back.
I don't think you can. At the very least, not now.
Not now.
And maybe this situation it's going to be solid. Like Ersson, we don't know if he's going to require an IR stint. Hopefully, Sean Couturier will be okay. Hopefully, this was just a 1-game thing, but you never know. I mean, he's in his 30s now. Who knows? So this could solve itself. But if you're going to act like, this is a culture of accountability, that, guys are in their spots. They tell the room knows when a guy should stay. Anthony Richard needs to stay, at least for now. And I expect that at some point he is going to tail off because I don't think he is a full-time 82-game-a-year NHL player randomly turned into one at age 27, 28. Maybe he has. Maybe he is the forward version of Nick Seeler. That would be real fun. I'm not expecting it. But right now, you can't send him down. You can't justify it. They're not scoring that much, and he's scoring.
While on a majority of the 32 teams, and you're probably right, while on the majority of the 32 teams, he's not an 82-game a guy. This is the type of player, perhaps, John Tortorella is able to get the most out of. Give him he played, I think, the fewest minutes. He only played 10:50 tonight in a game that goes almost 65 minutes. He's not going to be used as a regular. And maybe he's not an 82-game guy, but he plays a role. And we talked about this last time we were together, Charlie, on, what was it, Wednesday's show, when I was like, we're allowed to have dudes who are one-dimensional as long as that dimension is defense. And some of those guys generate the defense in order to be good at. Oh, yeah, he's good in his zone, and it's a good thing because him being out there results in them being in the zone.
Yeah.
We've seen so many of those guys over the time that we've been doing this show together. But the dudes whose one dimension is offense, they just never get a chance. And this isn't a Flyers-specific thing.
It's
a league-wide issue.
Sure.
Why can't a guy whose one dimension is offense be a role player? I don't see a reason not to give him this chance now.
Well, as long as he keeps scoring,
Yes.
you have to give him this chance. I'm just saying, if
He's probably not a point game player.
If he then drops back to being, he doesn't score for 2 weeks, you got to send him down because he hasn't necessarily earned the kind of leeway that you're going to give like a Tyson Foerster, that you're going to give a Morgan Frost, that you're going to give a Matvei Michkov if he ever goes on that kind of extended slump. If Richard drops off, he's going to get sent down. But right now, no, I was assuming as recently as yesterday that Anthony Richard would be the first guy to get sent down once guys start coming back. Now, you would assume that given the fact that Fedotov looks like an NHL goalie over 2 games now, that if Erson's injury is a very short-term thing, that eventually they're going to send Kolosov back down and they're going to deal with whatever the fallout from that move is. So that's one spot. Andre didn't play that well tonight. He had a lot of rough moments, I would say. Had some good plays. He got the 1 assist on the Sanheim goal. So it wasn't all bad, but he struggled at times. Overall, he's been good enough where he should stay. He should be learning on the fly right now, unless he gets to the point where he's getting consistently buried at the NHL level. I'm willing to give him a pass on this game. Did some good things. He's been real good for the previous few games. He bounced back real well from that Hurricanes game when he struggled, so I want to see how he bounces back from this one, which wasn't even all bad. So he's not going down. Richard was the logical guy who's like, well, he's one of them. Now, I don't think he can. So it's going to be real interesting to see what they do. Another guy who we threw out as like a nuclear option send down guy was Tyson Foerster. I thought he was one of the few guys in the first 40 minutes that wasn't terrible. He had a pretty good game.
Tyson Foerster is where I want to pick up in just a second. But first, I got to tell you about Glatt Hair Restoration. I got to tell you about Glatt Hair Restoration by Morgenstern Medical. Now the Glatt Hair method is under the direction of Dr. Morgenstern, a renowned plastic surgeon, Dr. Ken Morgenstern, the full name. So you get the same peerless approach to care, same expert team, same unmatched Glatt Hair system, same state-of-the-art location, and the same stellar results now under the direction of Dr. Morgenstern. If you've been listening to John Marks for any amount of time, or like I have, listen, I've worked with him for years. He's got a nice thick head of hair. You would never know he has had the Glatt Hair Restoration done, and that was years ago. That's before they've even narrowed it down and made it even more efficient, even better. You got to check out Glatt Hair and all of their procedures for all stages of hair loss, leading edge treatments for prevention and restoration, including laser light therapy, non-invasive TED treatments, vitamin supplementation, topical and oral medications, PRP and stem cell restoration, and hair restoration surgery. And each patient receives a complimentary one-on-one consultation to pinpoint the best course of treatment, because nobody's hair is the same. Nobody is in the same stage of hair loss. So you got to check it out. And if you're thinking, Bill, what are you telling me about hair restoration? Look at you. You got a lush set of locks. They also do beards. Maybe that's something I could look into, kind of thicken it up a little bit so I don't have the the Joe Dirt style facial hair. So bald is not optional. If you want to improve how you look and how you feel about yourself, Glatt Hair has the right treatment for you. Regain your confidence. Visit glatthairmctr.com or call 610-980-4000 to get started today. And while we're here, got to tell you about tonight's presenting sponsor. It's our friends at Bet365. Like I said, this team, never freaking ordinary. And it's great that we have Bet365 as a sponsor and our sponsor for this post-game show tonight. For your sportsbook of choice, I highly recommend Bet365. We came through on one of our 2 bets tonight. We got that over. 9 goals. It was set at 5.5. That just looked low to me for a game. I thought, maybe Fedotov would be the reason it went over. Nope, it was Linus Ullmark. He's the one who takes the L tonight. So if you want to get in on this action, download the Bet365 app and use code PHLY365 when you sign up to get $150 in bonus bets when you bet just $5. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 21 or older and physically located in Pennsylvania. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER. I want to talk about Tyson Foerster.
Yeah.
Because he is a guy we have. I always think I'm like turning into Chris Collinsworth when I do. Right here you have a guy. Tyson Foerster, strong rookie season last year. 20 goals. We know about the first 15 games. Didn't score, but his process was so strong. He had over 30 shots in those 15 games. Just felt like a matter of time before he put it all together, and then he does in the second part of the season.
Yeah, he did.
This year, obviously off to a better scoring pace because he has 2 goals. Just hasn't looked the same, though. Hasn't looked like that guy who, even when he isn't scoring, can be a part of a winner for you. And John Tortorella, despite his love of Tyson Foerster, has seen it. Demoted him to the 4th line the last few games. This is one of, if not his best game of the season tonight, I would say.
Yeah, and it wasn't anything incredible. It wasn't like, obviously, he didn't get any points, doesn't score a goal. But the first 2 goals of the game, he's integral to. First goal of the game, he doesn't get an assist, but he's part of the sequence. He's not only part of the sequence, he starts the sequence. He wins that puck battle along the boards, down low, gets the puck up, and then the passing sequence begins. Noah Cates starts it with a real nice pass, gets it to Hathaway, gets it to Andre, gets it to Sanheim. Goal, Flyers take the early lead. Then you have the Travis Konechny breakaway goal. I don't even think Foerster got an assist on that play, but he wins a puck battle. He battles along the boards again, allows the puck to get to Noah Cates, who hits Konechny for that stretch pass. That's the Tyson Foerster. Not the goal-scoring Tyson Foerster, the one we saw in the second half. That's the Tyson Foerster from the first half of last year. The guy who was doing all those little things right. It wasn't a perfect game by him. It wasn't a perfect game by pretty much anybody on this team, particularly the skaters. But you're starting to see a little bit more of the Tyson Foerster who is good at those little things. John Tortorella, yesterday at practice, I asked him directly about Tyson Foerster. Asked him, are his struggles this first half different from his struggles last first half? John Tortorella said, yeah, they are. He's not doing the little things. He's not playing that complete game. Doesn't have that strength along the boards, that strong stick he loves so much. But he did say he liked what he saw from him against San Jose. When he went back through the tape, rewatched it, it was like, I saw some things from Foerster I liked. Based on what I've seen on social media, I don't think John Tortorella liked this game from the Flyers. It sounds like it was another one of his quick, angry pressers, which fair. But yeah. I'd like to think that when he goes back and rewatches this game, he will like what he saw from Foerster again, that maybe finally, I'm not even going to say he's putting it together because you need points. He's a scorer. He's a first-round pick. If he's going to live up to his potential, he's got to score goals and produce points. But if you're getting that foundation of his game back, maybe it's something that he can use as a jumping off point to bigger heights. And what I mean by that is goals and assists.
Yeah. No, he absolutely has to score. He is a guy that, you've said when you've brought up the lack of high-end talent, the organization has pointed to Tyson Foerster and been like, yeah, he wasn't a top 10 pick. He was in the 20s.
Yeah.
But we believe he was severely underdrafted. Yeah. And he is a guy who can play in your top 6, score you some points, be that all-star along the boards, which always makes me laugh. But he is a guy we are counting on to be a major contributor for this thing in the future. And the wins and losses are very much secondary to individuals making progress this year.
Agreed.
And Tyson Foerster, is he Michkov? No. But he's in that next tier of guys. Mm-hmm. Him and Morgan Frost and Joel Farabee, just dudes we need to make decisions on and see what the hell they are if they're going to be a part of this.
Yeah.
And after his rookie year, we're like, Oh, sky's the limit for this kid. Didn't score in the first 15 games. Still had 20 goals. Still gave you that solid two-way play. Wins battles. And then it's another guy who regresses. That's something we've seen so much over the years of players that we had high hopes for, have a good rookie season, have a good strong start, and then take a step back. Hopefully, this is the beginning of him refinding what made him integral last year.
Exactly. And in the end, look, would it be cool if the Flyers make the playoffs? Yeah. It would also be cool if the Flyers got the first overall pick. So if you're on that train, I get it. But it would be cool if the Flyers are competitive this entire year and go all the way to game 82 with the games mattering and maybe get to the first round. That'd be fun. But what matters a lot more, as you said, is the development of these guys in their early to mid-20s. Obviously, the development of Matvei Michkov matters a lot too, but it's just fun that you're getting to see him. We know that Matvei Michkov has high-end potential. We don't know what the ceilings are of guys like Foerster and Farabee and York, Drysdale, guys that we just don't know. Foerster was a guy that I think both of us had high expectations for. Both of us have been severely disappointed by. And both of us are looking for reasons to get excited about him again. Tonight, he gave me a few reasons to think maybe he can bring it back together at some point down the road. Might not happen overnight, but there's something there. Whereas a week ago, I wasn't seeing anything.
No. Let's talk about the actual process of this game, because we can talk about Michkov's winner. We can say Fedotov absolutely outperformed expectations. Foerster coming around. I'm going to get to Sanheim later. Yeah. Strong game from him again, almost playing 30 minutes.
Yep.
But what they did for the majority of this game was not good.
It was real bad.
They were very, and I like when you're like, oh, John Tortorella based on social media, wasn't too happy.
It seems like he gave a vintage Torts presser.
I can't imagine he would be in this one. Shot total, they get killed. Possession, they get killed. If not for, and again, crazy to say, if not for Fedotov, they could have got blown out in the first period in this one. What did you see from the process overall?
It was bad. It got better. It got better in the third. In the third, they were doing more. Anthony Richard obviously makes those two plays to get the 2 goals, but they did look more connected. They were making better passes. They were, more, I don't want to say compressed because that feels like it has a negative connotation. They were just closer together. First 40 minutes of the game, we were pointing out on the watch along regularly, it's like everyone was hanging out at the opposite blue line. And maybe you can do that if you are burning a team regularly on those transition rushes. The Flyers weren't. The Flyers weren't even getting out of their own zone, and then they're throwing home run passes out to the neutral zone that have no chance of getting completed because there's 3 guys in the way. And then the Senators are just collecting the puck and going right back in on the attack. The Flyers looked as disconnected in the first 40 minutes of this game as they've looked all year, and they've looked real disconnected for large portions of this season.
For most of the first 17 games.
To me, the biggest frustration point, and obviously they win the game, so the Flyers can come away feeling good about their comeback in the third, their game-winning goal in overtime, and the fact that they got 2 points. But what frustrates me about this game is that I really thought that they were getting over this. They have that run where for 4 consecutive games, their average shots on goal total is below 20 goals, 20 shots. I was very frustrated. Then they go into Tampa, they play well. They go into Florida, they play well. San Jose, probably shouldn't need
Sharks.
Shouldn't need extra time to beat them, but they controlled play in that game. They did. They were the better team by a significant margin. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, process is getting better. It's not going to be perfect. But we're done these games where they're having, fewer than 20 shots on goal, where they rarely have the puck. And then they throw this game out there where they had to have a good third period just to get to 19 shots on goal.
Yeah.
And overtime, for that matter. I mean, what were they at before overtime? 16, 15?
They had 3, so 16. 16 shots on goal through 60 minutes.
Yeah, you had to play almost 65 minutes to get to 19 shots on goal. Look, they lucked out in that they played against a goalie who just did not have it even a little bit tonight. Wasn't even that he didn't have his fastball. He didn't have his curveball, his slider, his changeup, his
He didn't
sinker,
have his glove or his
gyro
cleats.
ball. He didn't have his glove or his cleats, exactly. Linus Ullmark was horrific. Now, credit to guys like Anthony Richard and Matvei Michkov for realizing that he was horrific and just putting shots on goal. Well done, guys. You figured it out. You figured it out. You cracked the code. But this formula, especially for the first 40 minutes, they ain't going to cut it. You're not going to win many games at all with this formula. If they keep playing games like this, they are going to have a shot at the first overall pick because they're going to lose a ton. This is not a winning formula.
No.
And at the core of it, it's the whole disconnected thing. They're just too stretched out. Guys are blasting the zone too early. Guys are hanging out too far up in the neutral zone. The defensemen don't have enough support on breakouts. Like, you're not going to be able to control the puck if you can't get the puck out of your own zone. And they couldn't.
You know how we have over the years said, like, oh, what's this guy doing on the power play? And it's, well, power play time is earned through 5-on-5 time.
Yeah.
It's you get the opportunity to rack up points on the power play by playing well at 5-on-5. You get paid for production. You produce on the power play, unless you're the Flyers, of course. But I look at the odd man rushes the same way. You have to earn your opportunities to try to get breakaways, to try to get 2-on-1s, 3-on, whatever, your odd man rush attempts. They did not earn them tonight.
No.
You have to work towards that by playing well enough to get those opportunities. They just got lucky tonight. They hit the home run with the one Konechny pass, and Ullmark was absolute trash. I will say
they got lucky tonight.
One,
and it's okay. Sometimes you get lucky.
Sometimes you get lucky.
And that's great.
Yeah. I will say one encouraging thing. Matvei Michkov, 3 shots on goal tonight. He hasn't had 3 shots on goal in a game since October 23rd at Washington when he had a goal and an assist.
Okay.
We talked last show. He's shooting like 20%. I need to see him shoot more. Now, you need to be in the offensive zone to shoot more.
Right.
But you're doing this well.
Yeah.
You're a good shooter. You are a good goal scorer.
Yeah.
Let's see you shoot some more. 3 shots tonight for the first time in almost a month. I think that's an encouraging sign, even if his overall game was less than great. We are seeing how good he is. We talked about it early with Travis Konechny when they start mixing up the lines. And it's all right. Well, Cates has been good. Foerster's been good. And you put Konechny out there because he's one of the few guys on the team that can just score. Right. At some point, he might find a way to score, and he does tonight.
He does, yeah.
Michkov is the same. Has he played a great game? No. But you put him out there in the 3-on-3, and he might figure it out. And that's what we saw tonight. Encouraging that in a bad game, for the most part, he finds a way to win it for them.
I like the fact that he's showing, and he showed this even in preseason, showing he has a flair for the dramatic. He's showing that he has the ability to come through in those big moments. That's what you want in a superstar. And he's not there yet. He's certainly not a superstar yet. He's got flaws in his game, but he's only 19. You're hoping that these traits, this like ability to come up big and just like not shrink from the moment, but rise to it. As I said, that was a weak goal by Linus Ullmark. It was. But Michkov had the presence of mind to realize that this goalie can't stop anything. Don't try something crazy. Just put the puck on net and see what happens. You would think that would be easy for everyone to realize, but apparently it wasn't because they only took 19 shots on goal the whole game.
And honestly, maybe that's the reason they won, because he didn't ever get into a groove because they only had 7 shots in 40 minutes. Maybe that's it. I find that encouraging. And honestly, even not so much the weakness of the goal, but Ullmark's lack of like response to what is definitely in the scouting report. Like, he is going to try to beat you short side.
Yeah.
He does it a couple of times every game. This is not something he just tried tonight for the first time. He's been trying to bank it off the goalie since the opener. He's been trying to squeak those in.
Yep.
And you're like, I'm not going to seal the post. To me, that's more a failure of pre-scouting than it is of just how bad he was tonight. I guess it all combines into one. But your point about I thought they were over this. I've been tracking their shots on goal by period. And there was a time, man, they were getting 3 shots in a period regularly. Mm-hmm. But we go back. You mentioned they played well in Tampa. Now, they're not getting double digits a ton here, but at Tampa, first period 7, second period 13, third period 8. Panthers, they have double digits in 2 of the 3 periods. Sharks, now it's the Sharks, but double digits in all 3 periods. And then against the Sens, they go right back to doing what they're doing.
Yeah.
If we could just go, well, they're a bad team. That makes sense. They were a volume shooting team last year.
Yeah.
I think 9th in shots per game, 2nd in shots against per game. Only Carolina allowed fewer shots per game than them. where has the volume shooting gone? Like, why are they losing the territory battle so, like, being so dominated territorially?
Well, it seemed like they were fixing it.
Yeah.
It really did. It seemed like they were fixing it over the previous 3 games. Then they regressed back here. Now, if you're asking for a diagnosis, I mean, I gave you the diagnosis.
Yeah.
The diagnosis is they're playing too disconnected.
Yeah.
They're playing too stretched out. That's what's going on. Now, the question is, why do they keep doing that? I don't know.
When the coaching is telling them, like the coach has said, we've heard it on the broadcast. John Tortorella is telling us. You've said in post games, John Tortorella telling us, we're not moving up the ice as a 5-man unit.
They're not playing at 5s.
They were doing it.
Yeah, they were for 3 games.
It just went, and listen, San Jose, we can look at that game as not a real game.
Bad team. They played the night before. Fine.
Yeah.
Easy.
Now, the game...
Easy game. It was game on easy mode.
The game
still
went
almost lost.
a weird way when a team that was on the back-to-back erases the 3 goal. But you win it, and you dominated most of the game. It was just a few bad minutes.
Yeah, whatever.
Okay. You kind of just erase San Jose. They're barely an NHL team. But Tampa and the Panthers?
Yeah, good teams.
They're good teams.
Good teams.
Tampa's not what they were, but they're still good. The Panthers might win the cup again.
Panthers are a great team.
Yeah, they're legitimately
Tampa's
great.
a playoff team. The Panthers are a cup contender.
Yes. It's weird to me that they're making strides, they're addressing issues, and then stuff goes sideways again.
And maybe we're a little spoiled by last year's team because last year's team, up until the final couple months of the year, was relatively consistent, at least from a process standpoint. They were consistently doing the right things. Now, whether that always ended up in wins, depended on goalie, depended on a lot of things. But from a process standpoint, they were usually out shooting the other teams. Maybe this year is just more of what happens when you have a young team. The Flyers are a young team. They're not young everywhere, but they're young in a lot of key spots. They have a lot of young guys in big roles on this team. Maybe this is just the normal for a team that is as young as the Flyers, one of the youngest teams in the league. So maybe it is that simple. One thing I do want to say, though, that I think absolutely played a role in why they've regressed tonight, though, I think the absence of Sean Couturier hurt them a lot. I do think that hurt them a lot because they're already weak down the middle. And really, since around game 5 of the season, Couturier has been playing really well. He's been their only clear-cut, above average center.
Yeah.
And having him, and I mentioned this on, I believe, the pregame show, his on-ice expected goals for percentage this season is 58%, which is crazy good. Anything over 55 is very good, and he's at 58, close to 60. He's been very good this year from a two-way play driving perspective. You lose him, and suddenly you don't have that line you can send over the ice to break a couple shifts in the row that are stuck in your own zone. Then 2 shifts turns into 6, and suddenly it's 8 minutes have passed, and you've barely had the puck.
And now you take a penalty.
Yeah. You didn't have Couturier. Now, I'm not saying Sean Couturier is the cure-all. He's not. He's not even the player he was 4 or 5 years ago. But he's still a play driver. He still can help you win shifts. And they didn't have a center tonight that could consistently win shifts against a Senators team that, is just okay. They're nothing special. I saw somebody in our chat saying the Flyers looked faster without Couturier tonight. Respectfully, sir, I don't know what game you were watching because they never had the puck.
When did
they did not look fast? They looked fast 3 times, which was the times that Anthony Richard had the puck and the goal that Konechny scored.
Yeah.
Other than that, I don't know. They didn't look fast even a little bit. They were walking around like they had anvils attached to their skates because they never had the puck. They were chasing because they often were coming up on 60-second shifts because they were chasing the play. Couturier's absence definitely hurts this team. Hurts them a lot.
Since you mentioned Coots and the lack of, I can't even call it center depth, just centers in general. Because Coots misses the game with the lower body injury that seemed to have sprung up today, Morgan Frost, who was slated to miss the game, comes in and doesn't play a ton. 13:44 time on ice.
Yeah.
Only Farabee, Brink, and Richard played less.
Funny how Richard and Brink both get 2 points each, a goal and an assist, and they're down at the bottom of the time on ice charts.
Points per 60, man.
Yeah.
They're killing it. Morgan Frost is, anything can happen, but off to a bad start, and in my mind, not long for his Flyers career here. It's just not going to work.
I'm not ready to say that. I know you are. I'm not ready to say that.
Did you see anything out of Morgan Frost tonight that makes you go, okay, maybe he draws in. Say Coots is healthy on, when the hell do they play again? Saturday?
Saturday.
Say Coots is healthy, ready to go Saturday. You think Frost draws in?
I mean, based on what I saw tonight, no. I don't think he played well. I mean, he had one good pass. It was like a little like semi behind the back pass. It was a nice play. Beyond that, I barely noticed him. He had one attempt of a hip check, which like
he did go for it.
You know what? I appreciate the effort. I appreciate the the willingness to go for it. Also, Morgan Frost, you probably shouldn't be throwing hip checks. You're not very good at it. What I want to see from Morgan Frost is good plays with the puck. I want to see him setting up shots. I want to see him carrying the puck through the neutral zone with his speed. I saw very little of that tonight. So is it possible he plays on Saturday? Sure, it's possible he plays. Maybe Couturier is still out. Maybe they pull somebody else out of the lineup. But if you're talking about what I saw in this game, no, I saw a guy in this game who probably should still be in the press box based on his quality of play.
Someone who definitely doesn't belong in the press box, Charlie. Travis Sanheim. This guy has become a horse like few we have seen on this blue line in a while. 3 points tonight, a goal and a pair of assists. 28-21 time on ice again. Yeah, sure. Emil Andre plays 23. Risto plays 22. Then it gets, shorter from there for everybody. But Sanheim, especially without okay, we can put the Coots line out there. Sanheim is kind of the cure-all for this team.
Yeah, he's been great. And I mean, spoiler alert, he's going to be one of my stars. He was great. And he's been great. He's last 4 games, as you said, 28, 30, 30, 28. He's killing it.
His time on ice, this is pretty insane. Just going back to November, let's just go month of November here. 23-15, 25-10, 28-21, 30-19, 30-23, 28-21. This guy, I guess I just have to accept that, yeah, man, he's real good.
Yeah.
He's just way better than I ever.
And in fairness, he's gotten better.
Yeah.
This is not a case of
oh no, I'm not retroactively
the guy from
taking
4 years ago was actually this good and you're just a moron. Like, he's improved. He has gotten to be a much more complete player, not just in terms of his defensive play, which has gotten better, but it's also just the how do I want to describe it? He's just more competitive out there. Like, he doesn't shy away from battles anymore.
That penalty he takes tonight.
Yeah, I'll take it.
Great with it.
I'll take it.
That's what I've wanted to see out of him forever.
Yeah.
That's when he was matched with, when he was paired with Phil Myers. I said, I just wish we could inject some of Phil Myers, even though it was stupid sometimes. Right. Just fill him with some of that anger he plays with. Yeah. And I am cool with that cross-checking penalty. You can take one of those again. No, maybe not one a game, but just be mean out there sometimes. You're big. You've put on the weight. You're strong. You're playing these big minutes. Sometimes you got to hit somebody. He's doing that and creating offense, doing all the little things.
Assists tonight.
3 points. Hard to argue. And he's +3 in a game in which you give up 4 and he plays half the game.
Yeah.
Pretty damn good night for Travis Sanheim.
Yeah. And again, this is normal. Like, as you put it, I think you're right. I think he was good to start the year. I don't think there was ever a point of this year where he was playing poorly. But I do think that after York went down, his game reached a new level. And now he's pretty much holding that level. This is what he's been for the last couple weeks. Even when the team was struggling, he was playing well. I mean, obviously the team didn't play well tonight, but point being is that the rest of the team during that 3-game run where it looked like they were improving the process, it wasn't that he got better. It was that the rest of the team got better to match him. Yeah. They caught up to Travis Sanheim. And tonight, he was one of maybe 4 or 5 guys, 4 or 5 skaters on the team who I can say I thought played well. There ain't many.
It's a short freaking list. And before we wrap up tonight's show, I got to tell you about Coors Light, baby. Yeah, that's right. Listen, man, Coors Light came through for us in a big way as the presenting sponsor of tonight's watch along. I've had a few Coors Lights tonight, and you should choose chill. Honestly, when you're talking about this team, it's hard to choose chill. And in the moments that you decide you need to take a step back, celebrate that decision with an ice-cold Coors Light. Whether you're freaking out about goalies, whether you're freaking out about shots on goal, injuries, whatever it is, you need to find the Blue Mountains in your fridge and enjoy a beer as cold as the Rockies, because when everything surrounding your favorite hockey team is on fire, and when isn't it? Sometimes you just gotta chill. Make the most out of the times you choose to chill. Choose Coors Light. Get Coors Light delivered straight to your door, or find a store near you by going to CoorsLight.com/PHLY hockey. Celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. I hope Sanheim enjoys himself, because he deserves a few Coors Light.
He has earned a Coors Light, at least one.
And before we go any further, I got to tell you about HelloFresh. What is HelloFresh? Well, with HelloFresh, you get farm-fresh, pre-portioned ingredients and seasonal recipes delivered right to your doorstep, so you can skip trips to the grocery store and count on HelloFresh to make home cooking easy, fun, and affordable. That's why it's America's #1 meal kit. You know, the holiday season just around the corner. We're all looking for ways to maybe spend a little less, be a little less stressed, because we know family time's coming, and that's going to freak us out. Well, with HelloFresh, you can make mealtime nearly hassle-free with delicious, home-delivered, chef-crafted recipes that come together quick and are less expensive than takeout. So whether you're craving hearty comfort food or trying to please picky eaters, maybe just looking for some calorie-smart meal plans, HelloFresh has all those options and more available on a rotating menu of 50 recipes to choose from every week. So you can go right now to get 10 free meals at HelloFresh.com/free flyers. Applied across 7 meal boxes. New subscribers only. Varies by plan. That's 10 free HelloFresh meals just by going to HelloFresh.com/FREEFLYERS. So check it out right now. HelloFresh. I'm even cooking with HelloFresh. And I haven't cooked since I left the food service industry. Said I did enough of that. I'm done with it. It's your job now, Ava. but she's like, no. What are you talking about? So I've made it easy on myself with HelloFresh. You can do it too.
I've been using HelloFresh since 2021.
Yeah, you told me before we got HelloFresh as a sponsor. You were telling me you got some HelloFresh and you were cooking up some meals, some of that meal prep. All right, Charlie, what's next?
Heartily endorse HelloFresh.
Heartily endorse the old HelloFresh. What else is there really to talk about from this one? I mean,
I don't know. We've been talking for 5 friggin' hours.
It's never ended. But just looking through this box score here, I thought Noah Cates was one of those guys who kind of had a strong game.
I would agree. I mean, he is part of the first 2 goals. He obviously has the great stretch pass on the connecting goal, and that is it's a high end pass. Like that's the kind of pass you would expect to see from Michkov.
Yes, absolutely.
Honestly, it was a great pass. And then he also is part of the lead up to the Travis Sanheim goal to kick off the game. By the end of the game, Noah Cates is being used as the 1C. They put him on a line with Foerster and Konechny. And I don't think it was any coincidence that, to me, if you're talking about the guys who I thought played well in this game, okay, Foerster thought had a good game. Cates thought had a good game. Konechny, I'm not even going to say I thought he had a good game. I thought he had one play. But hey,
couple of points.
It's a big play, but I don't think he played well overall. So Cates, Foerster, I'll say Richard, Tony Dick, and I'll say Bobby Brink came through with some big plays. I think those are, and then Travis Sanheim. So those are your 5. Everybody else, I'm didn't play well. They had 5 guys who played well. Noah Cates is one of them.
And that's without, Cates not a guy I look at in terms of, I want him to be a role player who generates offense. But I don't think it's a coincidence that in a night like tonight, where you just have a goalie who ain't playing well, and you got to take advantage, it's these guys who maybe aren't complete players. Maybe, like the coach, he's told us he's not convinced Bobby Brink is an 82 game a season guy.
I'm not convinced yet either.
No,
to be honest,
no, he hasn't proven that by any means. But you look at the guys who put up the points tonight, Brink, Richard, each with a pair of points. I don't think that's a coincidence. The guys who have that mindset of go and drive the net, go and try to get pucks to the net, end up being kind of the heroes in this one.
Yeah. No, it's fair that you could say, I guess not everybody, because, Morgan Frost has a lot to prove, and he didn't prove much at all. But, Bobby Brink, he's battling for ice time. Anthony Richard, he's battling to stay in the NHL. Travis Sanheim, he's a separate thing. Just seems like at this moment, and, people who don't like him, might still be having trouble grasping this. But William, I think he's got that dog in him. I think he does. So Travis Sanheim, there you go. But like Noah Cates, he can come out of the lineup at any time. You know, he's not a guy whose spot in the every night lineup is locked in, especially with the way he's played so far this year. There were some guys on this team that when the chips were down, they played as hard as they needed to in this game for the Flyers to come up with a win. Wasn't everybody. Not everybody played well. In fact, most of the skaters played poorly. But quite a few guys played well. Noah Cates was one of them.
Now that, speaking of dudes who fighting for their spot, Ivan Fedotov. Now that we have a 2-game sample of him looking not terrible.
Yes.
Say Ersson can't go Saturday. You want to go Kolosov or you want to stick with Fedotov to see if he can string together 3 in a row?
It's a really good question. If I had to guess, I would guess they would go Fedotov just because of what I know about Torts. And Torts is going to be like, well, we got to ride him. I would have no problem either way, truthfully, because I don't think there's that huge of a difference between the two.
No, in terms of overall quality, probably not.
But if they've made the decision already that Fedotov is going to stay, once this whole thing shakes out, whenever Ersson's back or whatever, maybe they will just ride Fedotov because it's like, hey, he's finally got something. Let's see if he can keep it up.
I would, if they've made the decision, then send Kolosov back because we're developing him. He needs to play. Like, he hasn't got a ton of time since, has he played at all since the tweak that took him out of the Tampa game? I don't think so.
No, I don't think so.
He's 22 years old. He's clearly not a finished product. I think what we've seen out of Kolosov so far is like, yeah, man, in 2 years, he might be an NHL goalie. And right now, he can tread water.
Yeah.
But is that how you develop a guy? I don't know. If they've made the decision, then I want to go with Fedotov and get Kolosov into as many AHL games as possible.
I would agree.
If the decision hasn't been made, then let's ping pong this thing until Ersson's 100%.
Well, but that's the wild card here is that you don't know what Ersson's status is going to be. And if Ersson can't go, then you got to keep Kolosov up just as a backup.
Yes.
Now, as you said earlier in the show, they don't have back-to-backs for a while. So they could theoretically ride Fedotov. I would think at some point they're going to get Kolosov in a game. If it turns out that Ersson misses 2 weeks or something, you would think Kolosov gets in a game or two. But I think, knowing John Tortorella, if he thinks that Fedotov has figured something out, and if that's what he's hearing from Kim Dillabaugh, I think he's going to ride him a little bit.
It's worth figuring out. He's here. We have him signed. Like, I have, as much as I believe Kolosov could be part of the future, and my ultimate hope for Fedotov is in February of 2026, we can trade him for something because he's on an expiring contract. Like, he doesn't factor into the future for me because he'll be 29 at that point.
Fair point.
Now, we need to develop Kolosov at a level he's ready for, and I don't quite think he's ready for the NHL yet. Fedotov ultimately might not be either, but as a backup on a rebuilding team, if this is what you get, it's livable. I mean, you can absolutely live with this version of Fedotov.
Here's the problem, though. And this is the one thing we haven't mentioned, but it's a very important variable. It's not just as simple as sending Kolosov down to the minors. Because, like, I 100% believe that Alexei Kolosov's best place to be right now is in the AHL. Especially if Ivan Fedotov proves himself to be a passable NHL goalie. Kolosov should be in the minors. He clearly has talent. You see the upside. He's clearly not fully ready to thrive at the NHL level. He's not shown me anything in his games to tell me, like, yeah, he needs to be in the NHL. He's Emil Andre levels, like, good. No. He would benefit learning down the AHL. He's still young. He's still developing. That would be where I would ideally want him. If you send him down, does he tell you I'm going back to the KHL? Like, that is a variable you have to account for. Now, maybe the Flyers say, you know what, kid? If you came out of those games you played and you still think you are a good NHL goalie, then you know what? We don't want you because you don't have the ability to accurately evaluate yourself. Maybe that's the way the Flyers look at it. And if that's the way they look at it and that's ultimately what they tell them, it's like, you know what? Fine, go back to the KHL. We'll see you when we see you. And fair. But for me, he should be in the AHL. I hope that he, on some level, gets that he's not ready to excel as an NHL goalie. And if he's not ready to excel as an NHL goalie and he's already here, why not work with the guys in the development staff and in the AHL who can help him not just develop as a raw netminder, but as a North American style netminder? Why not do that?
And just for a little comparison's sake, forget the NHL because he's not ready for it. I think he can tread water, but he ain't ready for it.
Right.
4 games in the AHL, 875.
It's not the best.
Cal Peterson's at 892. E2 Makaniemi 908. All 3 have played 4 games.
Yeah. Yeah, if you're not,
Makaniemi, they just found.
if you're not better than Cal Peterson,
Cal Peterson,
probably not a
who
great sign.
we probably can't bring up ever because he stinks so bad. Like, he let in 7 goals on like 12 shots.
I mean, there's a reason why I compared Linus Ullmark's game to Cal Peterson.
Because it's one of the worst I've ever seen, and tonight honestly rivals it. If they had a few more shots, they could have threatened with 7.
Yeah.
All right, how are we doing on Super Chats? Do we have a bunch of those? We have 3. Let's hit some Super Chats and see where we are after that. Let's start it with Corey. This game was like if I slacked off at work for a month and somehow got a promotion out of it. No, this was some real Office Space stuff here.
Yeah.
Yeah, wouldn't say I'm missing it. Like, somehow they weren't showing. They didn't show up at all for the first 40 minutes. 7 shots, and
Against
they win.
Ottawa.
Against
Ottawa.
This is not Carolina.
It's not Carolina.
This is not Vegas. This is not. It's Ottawa. I don't care how improved they are. They're the freaking Senators.
Yeah.
They stink. They're a 500 team. But like exactly.
Yeah.
They're a 500 team.
Yeah.
7 shots.
7 shots.
And they win.
They won
5-4.
anyway.
It's not even like it was a 19-18 shot game. Both teams sucked, and one team just sucked a little less. They got outshot by double.
Yeah.
And win 5-4. It was a 9-goal game, and the team with 19 shots won. That doesn't seem possible. But
If I was an Ottawa
that's why they have an
Senators
82
fan
game sample
right now,
size.
I would be so mad. So mad.
This would be a
You would be having a meltdown.
no, it would be like if this was like the Leafs, this would be throw a jersey on the ice kind of game.
Yeah.
100%. They to lose this game is
It's embarrassing.
Yeah.
It really, like, for the Flyers, it's hilarious.
Yeah.
For the Senators, it's embarrassing.
I'm mad at the Flyers and they won. Imagine losing this game. Unfreaking believable. All right, let's see this next one here from
Socrates.
Socrates Johnson.
Socrates.
Dude.
You had to do it the Bill and
Dude,
Ted style.
it's under Socrates.
It's under Socrates.
I had in world history freshman year of high school, I had a teacher, like a substitute come in. And we
Okay.
were like learning about Socrates. He's just like, it's page whatever, just read that today. He goes, and dude, it's under Socrates. And I like stand up out of my chair.
Yes.
The only one in the class
you
who
were
got
going to
it.
get on the desk
Yes.
and go, Captain, my captain.
I was like the only one in the class who got it. It was so, all right. So Socrates Johnson, Fedotov with the dexterity of 90s WWF toy.
Oh my god. Oh my god. He looks awkward still. He does.
It's never gonna look good.
Yeah.
He had fewer fall down
Yeah, he had
somehow.
A couple.
It's like,
I don't think that's ever going to be
what
completely
game
out of his
was
game.
it? NHL Hits, where if you like really blasted one, it would like take the goalie out.
I think so.
Like that's sometimes what happens to him, and he's still unsure of when he should come out and play the puck. It seems.
Oh, he's real bad playing the puck. Yeah.
He likes to do
It's
it.
been rough. And there were more than a few times in this game where he got pulled out of his net just like trying to cut down an angle and then fell down. And then the other team, the Senators, tried to do a wraparound. Like that seems like it's going to be a thing too.
He got bailed out a couple of times
his defense, yeah.
Luckily, it was the point in the game where they had started to crash down and take away the middle,
Right.
so that there was somebody there to deny the wraparound because he was like over in the corner.
Yeah.
But he's coming along, is what we can say. I don't think he's ever going to win a Vezina Trophy.
You don't think?
No.
You're not going to put that on Bet365?
I mean, the odds would be insane. You'd almost have to do it.
Astronomical.
You'd almost have to do it. Now, if I was a sports book, I wouldn't list him because if he wins, I lose everything.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, just throw $1 down.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah. You win $1 million. But he's coming along, and that's all we can ask for.
He seems like
at
he's
this
making
point.
progress.
Yeah.
And that's all you can ask for, I guess, at this point. Just make progress. Again, these last two games, this game and against Tampa, he looked like an NHL goalie. And he's not the starter. He doesn't have to be great. He just has to be not terrible. These 2 games, he was not terrible.
He was not terrible. He outdueled the Vezina winner tonight, so I guess you could say he could win one day. All right, this next one from Spiral Out Great show all night, PHLY crew. Go Flyers. Absolutely Spiral. You've been with us all night. I know because you super chatted us during the game, I believe, one of our super chats during the watch along. So very much appreciate you hanging out. And to wrap up the super chats, it is, of course, our boss, Vince Pellegrini, who says, why not us?
I don't know, Vince. Did you watch that game? That's why not us.
I think the process of tonight's game.
that's why not us.
I mean, I guess you could go, well, maybe they could have a Blues year. Like
that Blues team had a really good process.
Yeah. Travis Sanheim, I guess, could become Alex Pietrangelo.
We could do a why not us after like the Tampa game where they actually played well and won. This game, they did not play well and won.
How shocked are you that this didn't go to a shootout, Charlie? Because I am, of all the things I'm shocked by in this game, I think that might be the top.
I was fully expecting a shootout.
When Michkov backed that in, I was almost like, no, I wanted the shootout.
I was very much rooting for the game not to go to a shootout. It's been a long day.
It has been a really, really long day. We only have a few minutes left here.
So we got to do 3 stars.
Oh, yeah, that's right. We got to do 3 stars.
3 stars.
It is time for Charlie O'Connor's, and it's in studio today, so that's fun. Time for Charlie O'Connor's 3 stars of the game. Chuck, hit us with star number 3.
Star number 3, I'm going to go with your favorite player on the team, Anthony Richard.
Tony Dick.
Look, he didn't get a lot of ice time, so I can't put him any higher than 3rd star. He just didn't have a lot of opportunities, and quite frankly, most of this game, he didn't do that much. However, again, I'm going to say, the Flyers scored 2 goals on 7 shots. Anthony Richard was the first person to basically be like, oh, I should just like shoot from anywhere because clearly this goalie, even if he wasn't playing terribly in the first 40 minutes, like I don't think either of those first 2 goals were awful goals that he gave up. Like one's a breakaway, one's off a really good passing play. But you do wonder if like maybe he got stuck in his own head. You know, he starts thinking like, first off, he hasn't had a lot of shots, so he's cold. Secondly, he's looking up at that scoreboard. It's like, geez, 9 shots on goal, 7 shots on goal, and I've given up 2 goals. Like, this is not good. I need to make some saves. Maybe he got in his own head. And Richard's just like, you know what? Why not just see if this guy's got it?
Why not?
Throws a shot on goal, goes in. Then, second one, like, yeah, Brink gets the game-tying goal. Richard, yet again, just throws the puck on net. Not from a great angle, probably not going to score. He's shooting for a rebound. And Linus Ullmark obliges by not catching the shot that he very easily could have caught. Turns into the game-tying goal. Anthony Richard took until the 3rd period, but he cracked the code. He was the code breaker, and for that reason, 3rd star.
2 shots on goal, 2 points plus 2. 3rd star, Anthony Richard.
There we
Star number 2.
Star number 2, I'm going to go with Travis Sanheim. Great game, 28 minutes, goal, 2 assists. There weren't many skaters on the Flyers that I think had a good game start to finish. Travis Sanheim really may have been the only guy on the team who I think had a strong game for 65 minutes. I think he played well the entire game. If you look at his on-ice 5-on-5 numbers, the Flyers obviously got outshot dramatically. When Travis Sanheim was on the ice, though, 8-8 in shots on goal. Broke even.
Considering it's 37-19, like, that's a hell of a...
Exactly.
Like, the relative, I bet, real good.
Probably real good for Travis Sanheim. And what's fun about Sanheim and what he's been doing over the last few weeks, I would say, is you're just kind of coming to expect it, which is the really exciting thing. Like, if Travis Sanheim would have had a game like this 4 years ago, we would be spending the entire...
This would be the show about Sanheim.
The show would be about, man, Travis Sanheim was awesome. Now it's just like, yeah, he just had the same game he had a couple games ago. Just real good. So for that reason, Travis Sanheim, 2nd star. 1st star, I'll get this in real quick. It's Ivan Fedotov. Gets 1st star.
It has to be.
And
we appreciate those of you watching on TV. Head over to allphly.com for more of the show. But quite honestly, that is the show. Yeah. That is all the time we have for you on PHLY Flyers Postgame, brought to you by Bet365. Download the Bet365 app and use code PHLY365 when you sign up. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. I will be back with you tomorrow at 4 o'clock for our regularly scheduled live show. there's a real good chance it's a mailbag episode. So hit me up on Blue Sky, Bill Matz. Check it out there, or at PHLY_Flyers on Twitter. Send me your questions. We will answer them tomorrow. It looks like we have one more super chat from JH. Russian Giant for Vesina.
Well, again, put the money down.
Yeah, make the bet.
Make the
365.
bet. 365.
All right, yeah. Follow us on Twitter at PHLY_Flyers. Send your mailbag questions there for tomorrow. Follow the podcast wherever you get those. Just search PHLY Flyers. That'll do it for us. My name is Bill Matz. That is Charlie O'Connor. Until tomorrow, let's go Flyers.
We all silly like the mayor.